Heart of Darkness by employing, well, first thing is I don't really like that structure of saying the text then comma by employing. I would probably just reverse that. That's an immediate thing you could do. So you could say by employing modernist literary devices. But hang on a second, is this your thesis statement? You're going to list specific techniques? You can see how outraged I am by that, right? So you really need to be careful about doing that because you are limiting your argument there and you're going way too specific too soon. And this is the balance that I need you guys to find. All the time I'm saying, be more specific, but don't be too specific up front. You need to get more specific. You need to start specific and get even more specific. That's really the way to understand what I'm saying. So when you come out with your introduction, you don't want to start listing specific micro techniques. These are very specific techniques that occur line by line almost in a text. Juxtaposition, imagery, irony. What are the broader compositional elements that are relevant? Heart of Darkness is what? What is that? Is it a prose fiction novel? I believe so. Is it a novella? You know, we would have to consider the type of text it is. Heart of Darkness, form. Start by typing that in. It says it tells a story within a story. Well, that means it's metafictional. So already you have metafiction to potentially look into. And it says Heart of Darkness's form down here is that of a frame narrative. See how you've seen all of these technical terms? These are the kinds of things, and I'll just zoom in here. Frame narrative. See these different things? You can also look at Wikipedia. Nothing wrong with that. There you go. Novella. It's a novella. So these are the terms you should use at the outset. You can be even more specific than the novella, but you can say the Joseph Conrad's novella. You also, just to come back to your response here, you started by just saying Heart of Darkness, right? I would say through, you know, whether now if it was metafictionality or something, then you could do that. But if you were looking at it and you want to say, you know, through a metafictional narrative, if that's true, again, you'd have to research that. I just did a quick Google search and you have to look at that. That's not fresh on my mind. I have looked at that text a few years ago, but you would have to do your research like I just showed you. Really simple process, isn't it? You just Google it in and have a look at some of the things that comes up. Story within a story. Well, that's metafictional. So now I need to know if it actually is that. And you do a little bit of research. And if nothing's really validating that, and don't just read these parts, actually read some of these articles, nothing else is coming up about metafiction. So now I question whether that is the accurate term. Okay, someone said story within a story, so that made me think of that. But otherwise, it also says frame narrative. You can also type in style. Again, I'm just showing you literally the process of doing this. But we're going to use the word novella. You've got to say Joseph Conrad when you first introduce the text. A couple of basic things here. We're not going to say it there. We might have to look at other things, style, technique, structure. You just have a look at different resources here. This is a sample essay. I don't always trust these either. I don't think a lot of these are great, if I'm being completely honest. I like articles. I like seeing journals. But you have to do your research. That's the point, okay? You have to really look into this and find what those key stylistic elements are. I'm not talking about specific things like juxtaposition and imagery, okay? That's way too specific. The first thing is that Heart of Darkness is a novella, and we also want to know other aspects about its form, okay? JSTOR is a great kind of library of resources, critical resources. These are published in journals, university reviewed often. And you just have a quick look at some of these. Heart of Darkness is a narrative generally accepted as a classic short novel or novella. Okay, that affirms what we've seen before about novella. In this regard, it belongs to the category, under work, have a quick scan through, that this form has characteristics from those with short story, right? And then you just continue on, try and get access to those and go forward from there, okay?